We've decided to make this week's episode of The Insider just a little more special and bring in for you some information around the mid-season transfer. So before we say goodnight, before we say goodbye, we're going to take some time to just quickly take a look at some of the riders that have made significant changes, some of the teams that have made significant changes, great acquisitions for the rest of this season to come. So two things to point out. One, the season transfer window has officially closed. And two, most importantly, the names that we are going to discuss now are immediately available to ride for their new teams in the upcoming leg in Paris. So, that said, before we say goodbye, let's continue. Right. Where should we start? Valkenswaard United, defending champions, perhaps? Let's give them the honour. They've made some business as well. Let's jump in there. Who is in? Who is out?
Maurice Tebbel, who came in for the team just now in 2022, halfway through the season goes out, couldn't really contribute to the team. I think he was also heading back to Germany. He spent half a year at STOCKHOLM. But it's another German who comes in. It's André Thieme. Interesting, André Thieme, who was second on the podium in Hamburg in the Grand Prix. André Thieme, European champion. It's more than just his super talented chestnut mare DSP Chacaria. There's also a few other horses around him. The question just is, how much is he going to focus on the World Equestrian Games as defending European champion? How much will he be able to contribute for Valkenswaard United? That is the big question. But in any case, just as a name on the team, it is a big name. Question is, how much will he come out for that team?
I think the same question for me can be asked about Constant van Basten. We saw him jump in 2021. Only a single change for Prague Lions as well, keeping in mind they know the playoffs are coming this year. Talk to me about how you feel about him, what he brings. Solid rider from last year, I remember him. Good call for them?
Well, Leopold van Asten is the one who steps off. We just saw him in Stockholm. I think he struggles. He's got a lot of talented young horses. His older horses aren't as fit anymore as they were last year or the years before. So it's a logical change. I think Van Asten made the call himself, saying to the team, listen, this is my situation. I think it's better to opt for somebody else. It's not going the way I want it to go. So that's good from Van Asten. To bring in Constant van Pasen is... you can look at that from different angles. Van Pasen, if you call on Van Pasen, he will always give it 100%. He's got a great horse. That commitment
is crucial. That commitment 100%. Is crucial. Yeah.
Like De Vos said, you know, we're short of riders. If you bring in Van Pasen, wherever, if you say to Van Pasen, listen, there's a stage on the moon, you have to leave today, he says, where's my spaceship? That's Van Pasen's mentality. The other question is, how deep is his string of horses? It's fairly limited. That's a little bit the balance. You've got the good horse Isidore van der Helle, who performed some good results last year for Doha. That's going to be the horse that has to produce it. There's also Diaz du Tau, who might be stepping in. We'll have to see how that plays out. But in terms of commitment and passion to produce results, you've got a good man in Van Pasen.
Yeah, well, speaking of good men, Shanghai Swans arguably have done some of the best business of the mid-season transfer. Let's unveil to you the newest rider of the Shanghai Swans.
I'm moving to Shanghai Swans. The team is a very solid team. Already had great results, and hopefully I can help keep the team up on the points. I just want to be ready for the team whenever they need me.
He will already compete for the Swans in Paris. So for the next station, we are very lucky that Marlon is part of the Swans for the second season of 2022. And the other name, we are also very happy that he's joining us, is Martin Fuchs. A good friend of mine, and I'm really looking forward being in a team with Martin. Marlon has a lot of horsepower, I think. He will be available on a lot of shows. We've been a bit short on some shows, also like this one. It was just Christian and me. We could send 3 riders, but we only had now 2 riders. Marlon and Martin, they have some horsepowers. We have a good plan for the whole season, which is already written down. So we are hopeful to be very strong in the second half of the season.
So, sensational business for the Shanghai Swans, because let's first talk about Marlon Zanatelli, because I know we both rate him incredibly highly. What good business this is for Shanghai Swans, Frederick, to bring this guy in at this stage.
They bring in riding talent, they bring in style, they bring in a gentleman, and they bring in a lot of very good horses that can jump a lot of clears. That's a great, great move from Shanghai Swans.
Now, not only do they bring him in, but there's another rider that's joining, Marlon Zanatelli as well. You talk about strength and about ability. Who else do they bring in now for the rest of the season?
So there's Martin Fuchs also coming in, and you had this. You can say, okay, Zanatelli and Fuchs come in. No, you have to really think about this. Last year, Shanghai Swans were a 5-man team. Alexander Thornton didn't compete, so she steps off the team now halfway through the season. Also, Katin Eckermann goes out with the 9-year-old horses. That is somewhat understandable that they can't go a full season. But from what was a 5-man team last year battling against other 6-rider teams, now they have become a full 6-rider team. They can pick and choose and have got a lot of horses at their disposal, not just several riders, but with several horses. They've just made their way into top 4. And of course, now it's always easy to say, but if this was the beginning of the season, where would you put Shanghai Swans compared to Paris Panthers? If you talk about riders and horses, Paris Panthers with the lineup that we know, but now with Zanatelli and Fuchs added to that lineup, I think you would put them level.
Oof, that's great.
If not higher. Let's not say higher, but at least level. Now we know where Paris Panthers sit, but with this move, Shanghai Swans aren't top 4 contenders anymore. This is a team that will now go head-on with Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M. What an incredible signing from Max Kühner and from the partners, the team owners around Shanghai Swans. What a boost because this gives a completely new storyline to this 2022 GCL season. Shanghai Swans are our championship contenders.
Yeah, over-reliance on Max Kühner and Christian Almer now can take a bit of a breather. The 2 senior veterans